God present not only in the hearts of the individuals, in their homes, but also in their societies. And God liberated the whole people of Israel, covenanted with the entire nation, and established them as a new people in the promised land. And also, Christ establishes believers as a redeemed community, a new people of God. So, an authentic faith which is never comfortable or completely personal, always involves a deep desire to change the world, to leave this earth somewhat better than we found it. The earth is our common home, a theme will take up in Love of the Sea, and all of us are brothers and sisters, so the church cannot and must not remain on the sidelines in the fights for justice. For God Himself is the supreme agent of liberation of the enslaved and promotion of the poor. And He calls Moses just to do that. I observe the misery of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their cry on account of their taskmaster. Indeed, I know their sufferings, and I have come down to deliver them. So I will send you. And Jesus also tells the disciples, you yourselves give them something to eat. It implies not only feeding the poor, but also working to eliminate the structural causes of poverty and to promote the integral development of the poor, which means the fight for justice. Jesus' command also demands solidarity with the poor. This solidarity is much more than doing for them occasional acts of charity. Rather, it pursues the creation of new mindset, which thinks in terms of community and the priority of life of all over the appropriation of the goods by a few. Such solidarity also restores the dignity of the poor by ensuring them education, health care, and especially employment. In this context, the Pope calls for creating a prophetic counter-cultural resistance to the self-centered hedonism of paganism. He suggests also orthopraxis of not forgetting the poor. What is orthopraxis? Not forgetting the poor as the key criteria of orthodoxy. So orthodoxy is to be judged not simply by whether it is in accordance with scriptures and so on and so on. Orthodoxy is to be judged in terms of orthopraxis of not forgetting the poor. For as he himself acknowledges, defenders of orthodoxy are sometimes accused of passivity, indulgence, or culpable complicity regarding the intolerable situation of injustice and the political regimes which prolong it. The Pope also calls for a church that is poor and for the poor, and he wants the Christian communities to be evangelized by the poor, listen to the poor, and bring about necessary changes in its structures and in approaches. The church also has to foster dialogue with other religions, and the Pope finds in other religions, beautiful lines, precious allies in the commitment for defending human dignity, in building peaceful coexistence between peoples and protecting creation. In conclusion, Pope Francis appeals to us to become spirit-filled evangelicers. Spirit-filled evangelicers are those who carry on Jesus' mission in union with Him, those who act with His power continuously resourced by His Spirit. These are men and women who pray and work. As the Pope himself points out, without prolonged moments of adoration, of prayerful encounter with the Word, of sincere conversation with the Lord, our work easily becomes meaningless, we lose energy, and our fervor dies out. In short, to be an effective evangelizer, one has to be always Jesus' disciples and constantly walk and talk with Him, and of course also work with Him. On the other hand, the Pope also warns us against a privatized or individualistic spirituality in which prayer can become an excuse for not offering one's life in mission. Easy cozy spirituality or spirituality of adoring Jesus in an air-conditioned room, I call that deluxe spirituality, which is now increasingly becoming common in India. And yet Jesus wants us to touch human misery, to touch the suffering flesh of others, and in the flesh of others, to touch the flesh of Christ, and transform those miseries and sufferings into healing and joy with the power of Easter. And there's a beautiful words of the Pope about Easter. Next Easter you can preach in this meeting, though it's a bit too long, you may forget. I quote, "For Christ's resurrection is not an event of the past. It It contains vital power which has permeated this world. Where all seems dead, signs of resurrection suddenly spring up. It is an irresistible force. Often it seems that God does not exist. All around us we see persistent injustice, evil, indifference and cruelty. But it is also true that in the midst of darkness, something new always springs to life and sooner or later produces fruit. On raised land, life breaks through, stubbornly yet invincible. However, dark things are, goodness always re-emerges and spreads. Each day in our world, beauty is born anew. It rises, transformed through the storms of history. Values always tend to reappear under new guises, and human beings are arisen time and again from situations that seemed doomed. Such is the power of the resurrection, and all who are evangelizers are instruments of that power, the gospel of joy. Thank you.